Welcome to the summary and interpretation of the 2019 Nutraceuticals and Medicine Conference held in Austin, Texas. Over 700 people attended. There were 5 presenters, 3 PhDs, 2 MDs. 4 presented research findings. 1 presented a lifestyle recommendation plan based on research. My major takeaway is everyone needs to eat as many whole food derived from plants as they can. The more nutrient dense, the better. Whole foods have been processed or refined as little as possible and are free from additives and artificial substances. Society as a whole does not suffer from a lack of calories and macronutrients. We suffer from a lack of micronutrients. The first session was titled The Power of the Plant, How Fruits and Vegetables Work as Nutraceuticals and Supplements. It was presented by Luis Cisneros Zavalos, PhD, Professor of Food Engineering at Texas A&M University. He presented a diagram that had a bunch of details, but basically he believes we're normal or healthy, then we do things to ourselves, we get into a pre-disease state, and then if we keep doing those things, we'll eventually have some sort of disease. If we can eat whole food nutrition, eat well, I guess is the term he used, we can reverse things from disease to pre-disease. If we keep doing those things, eating well, probably other factors too, will move ourselves back to the healthy or normal state. Dr. Zavalos says plants are a rich source of bioactive compounds and phytonutrients which can be used as nutraceuticals and supplements. One thing to recognize, the Food and Drug Administration does not recognize food as a therapeutic agent. I guess the big takeaway from Dr. Zavalos is a blueberry has a nutrient density of 3,000. A raw whole carrot has a nutrient density of 250. But then the research that Dr. Zavalos, Cisneros Zavalos is doing, you take that same whole carrot, then you shred it, you refrigerate it, you wait 2 days. It's a process he described as wounding, something that plants are able to do. They release bioactive compounds, phytonutrients. The carrot does. The carrot is live. As far as if you get a carrot, you stick it in the ground, it'll start growing again. So the shredded carrot, the wounding process releases those bioactive compounds, and after 2 days in Dr. Zavalos' laboratory, they analyze the nutrient density of that shredded carrot, and it's also at 3,000. So just that concept is something that they're aware of in food engineering, and they're using to create products in our food chain. The next presenter was Dr. Claire Williams, PhD, Professor of Neuroscience at the University of Reading in the United Kingdom. Diet is one of the most important lifestyle factors because of diet's strong influence on the incidence of cardiovascular disease and neurodegenerative diseases. There are many recent dietary intervention studies using wine, tea, cocoa, or blueberries, and these are all good sources of flavonoids, and they have been shown to have beneficial effects on the function of blood vessels and on mental performance or cognition. Her research studied blueberry dietary interventions of 1 to 2 servings, showing improvements in performance on a number of memory and attention-based tasks, as well as increased blood flow to areas of the brain associated with cognition. Improvements in mood following blueberry dietary interventions have been seen. These studies demonstrate how important a flavonoid-rich diet may be for cognition and mental health. I'm going to skip the third presenter and go to another research presenter. The title of their presentation was Gut Microbiome Changes Induced by a Diet Rich in Fruits and Vegetables. The presenter was Marie van der Merwe, PhD, Associate Professor in the School of Health Studies at the University of Memphis, Tennessee. The abstract of her presentation: habitual dietary intake is the major determinant of the structure and activity of trillions of microorganisms residing in the human gut. Habitual dietary intake influence which microbes will colonize, flourish, or disappear throughout life. An increase in polyphenols, oligosaccharides, and fiber, which are all components found in a fruit and vegetable-rich diet, have long been associated with decreased risk of chronic disease. Many of the benefits induced by this type of diet result from the interaction of these dietary components with the gut microbiome, where they selectively enrich specific microbial species and increase microbial diversity. I guess one of the important points Dr. van der Merwe wanted to get across was a prebiotic is a food that feeds the microbiome. It's a definition that research scientists came up with in 2017 to kind of standardize the use of that term. Dr. van der Merwe believes the more diverse your ingestion of plant food, you eat the rainbow, the more diverse and healthy your microbiome will be. And that results in the person being healthier. The more fiber, the better. Diets in Africa are known to people in Africa consume up to 100 grams of fiber a day. Most Americans eat around 17 grams a day, although the recommendation is 38 grams per day in men, 25 grams a day for women. Dr. van der Merwe recommends more is better, more quantity and more source variety, as far as eat a wide variety of sources of fiber. And she was suggesting, maybe moving above 50 grams of fiber a day. Again, eat more foods derived from plants. The healthier the gut biome, the healthier the person. Session 5 was titled Childhood Obesity and the Role of Carotenoids, presented by Jose Atilio Canas, MD. He's the Division Chief of Pediatric Endocrinology and Diabetes at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg, Florida. His abstract read, "This metabolic obesity during childhood and adolescence currently represents the greatest therapeutic challenge for healthcare systems worldwide. The global rates of obesity have more than doubled in the last 30 years. Based on a recent meta-analysis from national surveys and food composition studies, there is an inverse association between inadequate levels of carotenoids and the prevalence of metabolic syndrome in the general population, independent of the serum retinol vitamin A levels." Basically, studies showed less subcutaneous fat in boys who got more nutrients from fruits and vegetables in their diet getting into their body. One of Dr. Canas's what he said was, precursors are more important than vitamins. Wikipedia says humans can produce some vitamins from precursors they consume. For example, vitamin A is synthesized from beta-carotene, like what's found in a carrot, and niacin is synthesized from amino acid tryptophan. Dr. Canas's research involves the effects of carotenoids like beta-carotene on the metabolic syndrome in children. Carotenoids are a class of phytonutrients, a substance found in certain plants which is believed to be beneficial to human health and help prevent various diseases. Carotenoids are plant pigments responsible for bright red, yellow, and orange hues in many fruits and vegetables that benefit the plant health and human health. In plant health, carotenoids help plants absorb light energy for use in photosynthesis, which is how the plants produce energy. In human health, carotenoids act as antioxidants, have strong anti-cancer producing properties, have anti-inflammatory and immune system benefits, and are sometimes associated with cardiovascular disease prevention. As far as getting into the understanding of Dr. Canas' research, he's studying the effect of fruits and vegetables increase in the diet on metabolic syndrome in children. And metabolic syndrome considers 5 factors: hyperglycemia, it's where your oral glucose tolerance test is greater than 40 and your fasting plasma glucose test is greater than 100. There's also hypertriglyceridemia, where your fasting triglyceride level is greater than 150. There's central adiposity, as far as you have a lot of fat at your midsection. As far as your waist size in a female is greater than 35 inches, greater than 40 inches in a male. And just as far as related to children, they don't really have a good measurement waist size for central adiposity, but one rule of thumb Dr. Canas mentioned was a 5-year-old, if their waist size is greater than half their height in inches, they're considered obese. Number 1, hyperglycemia. Number 2, hypertriglyceridemia. Number 3, central adiposity. Number 4 is hypertension or high blood pressure. That's where your blood pressure is greater than 130/85. So if any number, the upper number is greater than 130 or the lower number is greater than 85, then you have a characteristic of metabolic syndrome. And the last characteristic of metabolic syndrome is a low high-density lipoprotein, HDL, where it's less than 40 milligrams per deciliter in a male and children, and up to the age of 16 for females and males as far as children, and then less than 50 milligrams per deciliter in a female. The importance of metabolic syndrome in children is 66% of children that have metabolic syndrome, it persists into adulthood. And of those adults where it persists, those adults are 5 times more likely to develop diabetes and 1.7 times more likely to have cardiovascular disease. So as far as, again, there was 3 PhDs and 2 MDs, and as far as the sessions that I've talked about so far were mainly research-oriented people. Dr. Canas is a practicing physician and treats, but I think the last presenter, Dr. Furman, he's taken it to a whole nother level. The title of his talk was The End of Diabetes, Type 2 Diabetes, and Heart Disease. And the abstract related to his session reads, in this session, Dr. Furman confronts the conventional treatment of heart disease and diabetes and makes the case that we can prevent and reverse almost all cases of these conditions. That's type 2 diabetes. Proper nutrition, not more medical care, can save lives. Dr. Furman explains the futility of modern medical treatments and the effectiveness and simplicity and necessity of a diet high in micronutrients for the reversal of disease. Application of these principles can enable patients to reduce and eventually eliminate blood pressure and oral diabetic medications. The foods highest in nutrients turn our bodies into the miraculous self-healing machines that they can be, which results in significant weight loss, improved health, and ultimately the end of type 2 diabetes and heart disease. So again, Dr. Fuhrman, he's a practicing physician, and he puts the information presented by the other presenters, plus his own information, plus just the whole body of research related to fruits and vegetables to use every day. Dr. Fuhrman helps people become healthier through all forms of communication. As far as he's a great communicator, and he writes books, he has videos, he has multiple clinics that he's in charge of, and he has a website, drfuhrman.com. So again, I refer back to the diagram of Dr. Cisneros Cevallos talking about health, and then you have pre-disease states, and then you have a disease state. And as far as he referred to, if you ate well, you could reverse pre-disease states back to a healthy, normal state, or even if you had a disease, if you eat well, you can reverse things back to a healthy, normal state. In fact, one of Dr. Fuhrman's equations, health expectancy is the number of nutrients you eat divided by the number of calories. He's come up with a diet called the Nutritarian diet. He recommends this and uses it to care for patients. The Nutritarian diet is vegetable-based, involves eating lots of fruits, beans, seeds, nuts, use oils sparingly, consume animal products 0 to 3 times a week, and again, the main and most important part is consuming nutrient-dense calories every day, all day, to maintain health and to reverse disease. The Nutritarian diet is in contrast to the standard American diet that supplies too much protein, too much carbohydrates, too much fat, results in too many medications and too much disease, does not contain enough micronutrients, and is not enough whole food nutrition. Dr. Fuhrman believes you are abnormal and unhealthy if you need medication to maintain your weight, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, just all the health markers that physicians look at. Medications are necessary sometimes, but only kind of as an emergency stopgap measure. But the main thing is changing your habits. As far as there are no essential health requirements for medications. Medications treat symptoms, do not treat root causes of health problems, and medications have negative side effects that usually result in more medications and with more negative side effects. Dr. Fuhrman believes the prescription pad is the permission pad for sick people to keep doing unhealthy actions that result in more sickness and disease and more medications. Food controls thoughts and actions. Dr. Williams' research shows nutrient-dense foods result in healthy thoughts and actions. Dr. Fuhrman believes, and Dr. van der Merwe's research shows more fiber in the diet results in better health and better glycemic control. Dr. Fuhrman said the Adventist Health Study showed more whole plant food increased lifespan and decreased intravascular inflammation, and more animal protein increased the death rate. Dr. Fuhrman stated a BMI of 23 or less was healthier, and if you started losing weight and kept losing weight toward your ideal weight, the Nutritarian way, you get most, if not all, of the health benefits of being at the BMI of 23 or less, even though you're just starting to head that way. Your BMI might be healthier, but if you're starting to lose weight, you're starting to eat nutrient-dense food, you can get all the health benefits of the BMI of 23 or less. Again, my main takeaways from the presentation were the more vegetables and fruits you eat, the healthier you will be. Dr. Fuhrman had this phrase, he said, eat more G-bombs. The G refers to greens. The B, first B in bomb, refers to beans. The O in bomb is onions. The M is mushrooms. B for berries, and S for seeds. Juice Plus and all of its products help you reach that goal. As Dr. Williams says, prevention is the key. And as Dr. Canna said, what you eat controls what your genes do. So again, the more fruits and vegetables you eat, the healthier you will be. That's what all the research, all the presenters talked about. And again, some interesting websites to check out that I became aware of as a result of the presentations were drfuhrman.com, nutritionalresearch.org, and smarterlunchrooms.org. I'd recommend those, especially the smarterlunchrooms.org if you know any kids in the public education or really any schools. They have access to a wealth of information at the smarterlunchrooms.org website that could really benefit the students. Again, it's easier to create healthier kids than to bring an adult back to health. So again, let's just keep our kids healthy and let's eat well. Thank you for your time.